The following podcast contains coarse language and adult themes. This week on the show, Addie, what would you rather? Be eaten alive by a horde of fast, mad zombies or have to suck the fucking weird milk titties of an incest mutant baby woman thing?
Tit?
Well, you're in luck because today we're doing both. I'm Riggs.
And I'm the Walrus.
And I am the Eggman. Hey friends, and welcome back to the Film Addicts podcast. It's late and we're silly already. It's the intro and we're already fucking behaving poorly. So sorry about that. Yes, we're talking about Barbarian and World War Z, and we're going to talk about these two films, how juxtaposed they are, how different they are, even though they do live basically in the same genre. It's our late Halloween episode, and that's all good. Speaking of Halloween, it's a fucking horrible day, and we'll get into that. But before that, I'm going to talk to my good friend here. He's beautiful, he's wonderful. You know him as Addy, the film addict himself. What's going on?
Everything up until today was okayish, and then today was just bad. It started bad already. And then,
you got up and thought, fuck, I've got to go and do all this shit, and then, the hammer dropped. Yeah. But just for clarity's sake, everybody, in Australia right now, it's Wednesday the 6th of November at 9:15, and I don't even want to say his name.
Don't say
it. That guy who was president once before and is a heinous, hateful piece of shit got re-elected, and we almost cancelled the episode because I am in a fucking bewilderment. I don't know, and I'm a white man, and I'm in trouble here. Like, it's freaking me the fuck out. How are you feeling, person of color?
Too many emotions, not enough words, right? I don't know. Weirdly scared for all the queer folk out there. In particular, I feel like that's and look, complete transparency here. If you are a supporter of this gentleman, you can stop listening to our show. If you're a supporter of this walking carrot, like this racist, homophobic, transphobic, fucking misogynist carrot that walks around daily with no real hair, you can stop listening to our show. We don't want your patronage. God bless, but fucking no thanks. We're just going to rag on him for a few minutes, so it is what it is. I feel like that group in particular will be targeted. There's some... I mean, you talked about it in the chat, with the Till the End of the Line guys who were from that country. I don't know what the political leanings are, but that doesn't really matter. You just mentioned that it's like we're talking Mutant Registration Act shit here, and it's not a joke. It is not a joke. Oh, yeah. It's pretty scary. I remember when he got elected the first time, and all I could think of was the quote from the Johnny Cash song, "Man riding on the horse, and his name was Death." Like, it was just, and the 4 horses rode with him. Scary times. And I said to a friend of mine before, I was like, I'm going to be in America in a couple of months. I'm going over there to Canada and to in the States as well for just a trip. And he's like, well, you'll be all right because, you're not trans and you're not Mexican. And I was like, yeah, but I'm Australian, and I don't think he knows the difference. I think if you said to him, there's an Australian here, he's going to think I'm either Mexican or trans because he's a fucking moron. I don't know, everybody. We're going to try and talk about some horror movies. Oh, get fucked. Oh, well. We've either lost a bunch of supporters. Supporters? They're sort of like supporters and followers, but you mush them together like a fucking sex thing. That was such a big jump. I don't know.
I was saying we're probably going to lose some followers or gain some followers. I don't know. I don't care. The point is,
it's a horrible day for the world and for that country in particular, and any friends that I have over there or anybody else wants to reach out and talk to their people about it. You're not alone. We're all a bit bewildered and unsure about what's going to happen and everything. But yeah, we're not alone. We're in this together. We're in this together, and we can figure it out. Don't let hate win. Hate can't win. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, fuck all that shit. We're here. It's the Film Addicts. We're talking about some horror flicks. One you put me onto. You put me onto Barbarian, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But apart from all of what's been going on today, are you well? You look well. Your hair is luscious. Do you moisturize your hair?
I don't. I have to get into a routine because I feel like I don't have. Because I might get a haircut, but I don't know.
Why the fuck would you do that? Don't get a haircut. Then we won't match. I'm growing mine out again. It's the Film Addicts Hair Club for men. It's also hot as balls here. Like I'm fucking sweating like sitting here in church. I must tell you, I went to sorry, this will happen a lot tonight because I'm a bit manic and my energy's a bit weird. So I'm just going to have thoughts that are going to pop in my head. I went to this wedding and it was lovely. It was a beautiful wedding and it was lovely snacks. And it was sort of just the ceremony part of it and then like the after bit. And it was a friend of mine who I used to work with. Dude named Caleb, just one of the sweetest kids you'll ever meet. One of the most talented animators I've ever met as well. He just like picked that shit up. But it was super churchy. Like even his dad was the guy doing the ceremony. He was the priest. And wow, I've never been to a like reception with it. All the hymns, all of the hymns. And I couldn't follow the hymns because the hymns, I don't know if you know about hymns, start on one line and then you got to jump to the next paragraph and do that line and then jump to... Do you know this?
No.
I was trying to sing and follow along and be part of the enjoyment and I kept singing the wrong line and looking around going, why am I fucking this up? And then people were like pointing at me. I mean, it didn't help that I was wearing a devil costume, but I thought it was fancy dress because it was the Christmas times. Christmas time. It was Halloween. But yeah, anyway, I went to this thing and I couldn't follow the hymns and it was like real churchy and lots of prayers and all sorts of stuff going on. It was just wild. I'd never been to anything that kind of dogmatic, I guess is the word, you know? But you'd be used to all that shit.
Yes.
The perfect response. Yes, I fucking hate it. Excellent. Like my whole life, I've kind of been a bit of an anti-theist. I mean, I'm not a sort of like, you know, think religion's not a bad idea, but I don't understand it. The more conversations I have with people and the more information I get about it, the more I kind of see the appeal and everything. But I don't know, maybe I'm too wide-eyed and, you know, filled with wonderment about the world to really consider where it all came from.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like not in that's a bad thing. It's just people usually... This is a weird episode. We're getting political and religious this time. Fuck.
Whatever. It's late. We need to vent.
I don't have a problem against religion. I just hate organized religion. And if you don't know what the difference is, you're part of the problem.
That's a very, very solid point. It's like anything. It can be weaponized. And it can be turned and make people dependent,
yep.
You know, codependent on this stuff, and that's not really a great space to be. Anyway, it's politics, it's religion. They're out of the way, so we can move right on to titty milk fucking or whatever goes on in this picture. Actually, no. Let's. You want to do? Have you watched anything cool lately?
I have actually. I want to talk about it, but I think we're going to talk about it on length sometime soon. I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about which one?
No, I will talk about it, but you go first.
Oh, okay, sure. What are we going to go? We do what? Are we
watching?
That one sounded pained for me today, like someone was inserting something in me. Anyway, what are we watching? So what are we watching? I found something by accident. And and I'll tell you how. I was going to watch Tron. You know Tron?
Yeah.
With the Jeff Bridges. It's the Tron sequel, actually, Legacy, from some years ago. The one that the fucking amazing score by Daft Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really excellent. Anyway, I was going to watch that, and I was typing that into Disney Plus, the search engine, and lo and behold, something else came up, and it was called Tracker. And I thought to myself, that sounds interesting. And the guy who's in it is, who was he? He was in Smallville, right? And he played Oliver Queen. He played the Green Arrow. And he was also, I don't know if have you seen Bad Mums 2? It's the Christmas one.
No.
You haven't? You're talking about Catherine Hahn all the time. You haven't seen Bad Mums.
When am I talking about Catherine Hahn?
Because she's in the fucking show with all the witches that you like so much.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
What? Voice went super high then. In the second Bad Mums movie, he's in that, and he like gets together with Catherine Hahn, because you know how... Well, no, you don't know, because you haven't seen the first one either. Fuck my hole. Anyway, he's in that movie, and he's very funny. And I saw this show, and it sounded like real 90s to me, or real sort of mid-2000s, and it's about this guy who's like trained as a tracker his whole life, and he just goes around America, just driving around, and he's got these two this lesbian couple who work with him, and they just find missing persons, and he goes and finds them and collects reward money, and that's his job. I thought that sounds really cool. Well, the fucking first season of it came out this year. I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. And anyway, I'm really digging it. It's a real just like simple procedural show, you know, sit down, cup of tea. No, doesn't ask much of me. Yeah, I really dug it. So Tracker, everyone. It's on the Disney Plus. Treat yourselves. What about you? What have you been watching? Oh, I also watched Inside Out 2, but we're going to have to come back to that another time.
You're still processing it?
It's not the day to talk about Inside Out 2.
Yes, definitely.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not... We can't talk about conquering our anxiety today because we're not doing it.
While it's sitting on the fucking throne on top of every other emotion.
Exactly. While it's spinning around insanely, like in the movie. Excellent movie. Okay, it's not that we need to combat it. It's not that we need to get over it. We need to assimilate it, like the way that they assimilate Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman's daughter. Anyway, Inside Out 2 is very good, but we'll get to it one day. She did the voice, Mona Hawke.
Yes.
Yeah. You tell me what you watched, because you were excited about it. I
watched a lot of things. I also weirdly got Tracker recommended like 3 hours ago.
Oh, really? By who? Was it me again and I forgot?
No, I was just surfing and it was just like the first thing that popped up. And so I clicked on it and it was only one season. I was like, maybe I'll watch it soon.
There's a second one coming soon, because it's not actually Stars. It's like on the Disney Plus app. It's not their sort of product. It's the one that they kind of semi have. So it's got to finish airing completely on NBC or wherever the hell it is before they'll take it over. At
some point, you will have to watch Agatha All Along. Not only because it's an amazing show. It's also now officially part 2 of this trilogy. That's gonna go with WandaVision, Agatha All Along, and then end with Vision Quest. And this corner of the MCU has cracked open and has just embraced every single weird thing that you can think of. And I love it very, very much. And Patti LuPone is in it, and she's fucking brilliant. Yeah, watch it. Plus Joe Locke is in it, who's in Heartstopper, so I had to watch it anyway.
Was he one of the original kids from WandaVision?
I'm not saying anything, but you'll have to watch it.
Okay. Not the character, the actor.
No.
No? Okay. All right. We'll circle back to it.
Yeah. I finished The Legend of Vox Machina, and the last act broke me. It became really serious. Like, the entire season was serious, but it became like actually really fucking serious. And like there are things that happen in the campaign that they're like engraved inside of my skull, inside of my soul. That if you wake me up at like fucking 4 a.m. and if I'm sleeping at 4 a.m., which is rare, but if you wake me up at that time, I can recite word to word what these people said as those characters.
Yeah, right.
And they have this really, really amazing spin on one of the most emotionally devastating scenes in the entire campaign, and they put a little bow on it. It was really fun. But what really broke me is now we know that we're getting a season 4, but I guess while they were making this, they didn't know. And so the last episode ends with a song, and usually like Sam Riegel is a fucking legend, and he the fact that we get this show and we get almost 3 original songs each season is insane. And this year Sam Riegel battled throat cancer and was gone from Critical Role for about a few months, and after the last act came out, the last song that's in the last episode, there was somebody reporting that allegedly Sam Riegel recorded that song the day before he went under surgery, and the way that how the song is and what it's talking about is, you give me a lot of fucking feelings.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, I'm glad that his surgery went well and that he's doing well and he's doing fine. And then then Critical Role releases a fucking holiday special in universe EP with different characters singing Christmas adjacent songs. That was insane, and they dropped it 2 days ago, and they didn't even market it. I opened YouTube and it said Critical Topic with four tracks. I was like, what?
But do they even need to now? If their base is as fervent as you are, I don't think they need to.
Yeah.
That isn't a criticism either. That's just a fact.
The Legend of Vox Machina is amazing. Critical Role is amazing. They're probably, hopefully, allowing me to meet you someday. Next year.
Yeah, I'm excited, everybody. Addy was saying that he might be coming to my neck of the woods to see these guys live, which would be amazing because we could do a live show.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what we'd do it on, but probably Legend of Vox Machina, probably.
Oh, I would love that.
That would make sense. Yeah, awesome.
I also want to say, and this is probably the Legend of Vox Machina season 3 is officially Lance Reddick's last performance, and he voices Dragon in season 2 and season 3.
Of course he does.
So
that's the perfect thing for him to voice.
Yeah, when they had the launch party for season 3, they talked about just how amazing his presence was, and that they waited a good while just to even process the fact that using his voice would be okay. And they talked to his family and his estate, and since he had recorded all his lines, they were okay with it. And this is his last performance.
Oh, a pretty good one to go out on though, for the fan base at least.
I watched The Wild Robot, which I watched The Wild Robot day before yesterday, and I'm still a mess.
I watched the trailer for it, and it got me some places. So I'm ready to do that. We're going to have to do that for an episode before I leave, I think.
Imagine not even
for the
watching
good of
the
our
trailer.
immortal souls.
Yes.
What, sorry?
Imagine not even watching the trailer and just going and buying a ticket.
And just going in cold. Yeah, well, I it sort of happened by accident because I was looking on Apple TV to see if it was available to do it at home, if we were going to do an episode on it before I had a chance to see it at the cinema. And it just played the trailer, and I stupidly watched it. But he raises the robot raises a duck, and I'm and learns how to talk all these different languages. Fucking, I'm going.
That duck, I am not kidding. That duckling is the most cutest thing that humanity has ever produced.
Really? Careful.
Yes.
Well, the what is it? Grogu people will chase you for that. That's the little thing in Mandalorian.
That's an ugly fucking alien, man. Sorry.
Racist. Fucking racial up in here.
It's a weird day. Just let me be.
It is a weird day, yeah. That strange, dead-eyed Muppet creature. Excellent. Well, yeah, now we're going to come back and talk about The Wild Robot. We'll actually do an episode on it. Do you want to do a couple of news stories before we chat about these two horror flicks, or did you have something else?
I don't want to, because this is related to the episode. I want to talk about Barbarian for just a second, because me and my friends were planning a trip like early next year, and we booked an Airbnb, and we were at a sleepover, and I'm fucked in the head because I just put on Barbarian, and good lord, they were not prepared.
No one should be ready for that at a sleepover. I mean, I understand that at sleepovers you're supposed to watch scary movies and stuff like that, but not ones that fucking will haunt you to the grave. Long after I've forgotten my own name, I will remember the milk titties scene and the running down the thing, and the poor crow kid getting his head bashed in. The whole 9 yards. It's fucked up.
When the first switch happens, like 5 minutes into that phone call on the beach, they're like, "Is this anywhere related to the 30 minutes that we just watched?"
Is this the same movie we've just been watching? Yeah, that's the kind of feeling I had. I was like, "Hang on a minute, what's happened to my stream? What's Justin Long doing here? Is this a Kevin Smith movie?"
But yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll come back to the Barbs. What are you doing on a fucking sleepover?
I am, like I said, I'm fucked in the head. I'm evil.
You're evil, right? Okay. No, I'm just thinking when I was, what are you, 21, 22?
Yeah, I'm 21. I'm the oldest.
You're 21. Yeah, when I was 21, our sleepovers were very different. It was all about sucking and fucking. I'll tell you that much.
Man, these fucking straight motherfuckers don't do shit. What am I supposed to do?
Just surrounded by fucking a blizzard of dicks and nothing happening. Ridiculous even, dude. Oh, fuck me, instead of getting polished. Why am I doing the double? You can't see everyone, but I'm doing the double dicks to my face. Look, man, if you're gonna fucking do something, do it right. Anyway, Barbarian. No, we're not doing that yet. What are we doing? We want to do some news? Yeah, let's have a look at it. No. Oh, I also rewatched Interstellar, and it's my favourite Christopher Nolan movie, everybody, and that's just how it is, and I apologise if that sounds contrarian, but I think it's wonderful.
It's not contrarian at all, though. It's like, it's the most basic opinion.
It's what, sorry?
It's the most basic Christopher Nolan opinion.
No, I feel like people don't like Interstellar at all. I feel like people are really... It's like that. It's one above Tenet because no one understands Tenet, and I think it's just really misunderstood. Interstellar's exceptionally good, and people are like, people are like, oh, love is the fifth dimension. Why not? Why can't love be the fifth dimension? If imagination can be the fifth dimension, so can love. Like, of course, human beings would only be able to get to that heights of technology or harness, the dark matter from a collapsed star or whatever the fuck it is for that one purpose. Like, we're never going to get anywhere if we're only getting there for profit or for fucking the sake of getting there or whatever, expansion and all that shit. We don't need. We're terribly overstocked in ourselves as it is. The only reason that we would ever make that kind of a leap in our own scientific evolution would be because of love or because of the, for each other. It's not going to be for fucking something else because that's a dead, empty experience. Yeah. So Interstellar rules and suck every dick that you can get available to you. What am I even looking for? It's the news, isn't it?
You're looking at dicks on the news, dude?
Yeah, no, they're always on there. There's been a lot of dicks on the news today, actually. Venom 3...
Yes, it sucks. Moving on.
Yes. Well, it sucks so much so that Sony is reportedly putting in the works an Agent Venom film, which is actually where it's Flash Thompson. And he gets all the Venom powers and he becomes a special agent. I think that's a mistake.
It is. Also, they can't use Flash Thompson.
No, it would have to be someone else.
No, they just can't use that character because it's too closely tied to Peter Parker, and because if Peter Parker is involved, they gotta pay the Marvels.
Yeah, right. I think maybe they're folding them all into each other. That seems to be the rumor anyway. But we might find out in Spider-Man 4, whatever that's called, starring the Tom Hollands, because it's officially going to be released between the next two Avengers movies.
Yeah, that's their like contract. Like they can't delay it more, otherwise they lose the rights.
Yeah, right. Okay. I'm just trying to figure out what that movie's going to be. Because it was very... I mean, as much as I would like the idea of a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie in which it is a completely isolated adventure and is not connected to all the other stuff that the previous ones were, you know, Homecoming's fairly isolated, but the other two aren't. And just have him do Spider-Man shit. Because at the end of that movie, when he's in the OG costume or the you know, the more sort of colourful traditional costume, not the Tony Stark Buzz one, and he's flipping through fucking... Rockefeller Plaza with the thing and it's snowing and it's Christmas and all that kind of shit, and I was like, okay, that's a really satisfying ending to this trilogy as well. I don't know what this fourth one is. Apparently the bad guy is also the bad guy that was introduced in Venom 3, Null or Knull or whatever you want to call him, or that might be his name. His name might be My mum had a doctor whose last name was NG. Dr. is how I pronounce that. That's not a racial dig at the guy either. It's just like, it's an interesting name. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it was Ninj or something like that. But I think it's funnier to go, what's your name? I'm Tim. Or as Louis C.K. says, if your name was just like 40 F's in a row. Yes, hi, my name's Justin. Oh, okay, hang on. What are we even talking about? Spider-Man,
Yes.
Sorry, Spider-Man 4. Yeah,
I
you were saying.
I don't think he's going to be part of the MCU Spider-Man. Again, is it really so fucking hard to just bring back Andrew Garfield? Is it that fucking hard?
He seems keen too. You know?
He looks like the ultimate Spider-Man that's going on right now. He looks like the motherfucker. Sorry.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. If you read those books, I don't myself, but I've seen some of the stuff from him. Yeah. Anyway,
just get him back.
Spider-Man's whatever you're into.
Give me the porn I've wanted for centuries, man. Just give.
It's a pretty good argument, actually. Here we go. Here's one for
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
There's this line in Venom 3 that. So I watched it with my friends. It was actually on the day of the sleepover. Because we watched Venom 3, and then we went back and had to give a good palate cleanser, so we watched the new Puss in Boots movie, which is amazing. And then we watched Barbarian. But anyway, so we went and watched Venom 3. There's this one line, and like one of the fucking xenomorph bullshit bug thing says it in the movie, says all the black ones. I'm like, that's not something you want to say in a movie.
You can't. Where is the rewrite on the script for that one? That is fucking ridiculous.
Like, it's so...
What an idiot.
It's so idiotic because... it's the green venom... The green venom kind of thing that's in the containment. And...
oh, yeah.
So it says all the black ones, meaning or like indicating that it doesn't know what Venom is, yet in the very next scene it refers to Venom as Venom, so I don't know what the fuck is going on.
I don't think that, from all of the stuff that I've heard about, that seems like we had the idea for the movie and then it all fell through in terms of getting a Spider-Man in there, and it's just they've kind of
there's a Spider-Man in there. Trust me, there is a Spider-Man in there. They showed it. It's the lizard raising the Spider-Man.
Say again, sorry. It's the lizard.
The lizard is in the film. Playing...
Kirk Connors.
No, the guy who played Kirk Connors in
is Rhys Ifans.
Yes. So he's in the film.
Is he playing Kirk Connors?
No. Well, the kid that he has, right? He's wearing blue and red the entire film. And it's supposed to be Peter Parker.
Oh, whoop-de-fuck. Like, that? No, it isn't. No, it's not. Would we stop doing that? Like, in fucking Madam Wem? Yeah, Madam Wem is a different film.
I gotta say, that's still better than what the fuck they did in Madam Web.
Yeah, in Madam Web, it was like, they worked really hard not to say, yeah, that kid that you keep the baby shower they're at, that's for Peter Parker, by the way.
It's Mr.
Stupid.
P. Parker, because we cannot elaborate on the P.
Yeah, exactly. We can't say anymore, otherwise we'll get fucking, completely shafted by Marvel.
Yes, nerd news.
It's all a bit of a mess. I don't know. Dune, Messiah, is set to start shooting next year for a December 2026 release. How about them apples?
Sweet and juicy.
Sweet and juicy apples. The best. Can't wait. Make it happen. And it's also reported that... Greg Fraser, the DP, who won an Academy Award for either Dune 1 or 2, I can't remember which one it was, probably 2, Australian guy who was also the DP on The Batman, is able to do both Dune Messiah and The Batman Part 2. So, excellent.
Also,
excellent shit.
Dune Part 2 hasn't gone on the award circuit yet, so he did win it for Dune.
It was for Dune? Okay, yeah cool. Good on him. And finally, speaking of, Christopher Nolan's next film is rumoured to be a period horror film about vampires in the 1920s. Hang on a minute. There's another movie coming out that's got some of that. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Isn't that exactly what the fuck Ryan Coogler is doing right now? With Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah, that's true.
They should really make a biopic about the basketball player Michael Jordan and just hire Michael B. Jordan, and that would be what that's on the poster. It just says Michael B. Jordan, and the name of the film is Jordan. Michael B. Jordan, it's easy, is all I'm saying. Yeah, isn't that exactly what's happening with Thingo?
Yeah, we don't know exactly what the Christopher Nolan movie is. But it seems like there were a lot of leaked potential Blade scripts that just went to different directors at this point. And then they just stopped production on Blade.
Yeah. You might be right. You might be absolutely right. Anyway, you know what would make a really good Blade movie? Blade versus Milk Titty Mutant Woman thing from Barbarian. That would be an awesome film. And while we're talking about it, let's talk about Barbarian.
Yes.
Barbarian from 2002. I did that on purpose just to fuck with you. 2022. Directed by Zach Krieger. Now, this is... Zach is an actor, as far as my understanding. He's been in a lot of different comedy series and so on. There's a show called Wrecked that he was in 30 episodes of. Bunch of sort of offshoots of that thing. Whole bunch of shorts. He was in 7 episodes about the TV series about a boy. Guys with Kids, The Bounce Back. So yeah, he's definitely had a bit of an acting career. As a director, and this is what we're getting at. This is his first feature film. The writer-director, first film, at this level. Obviously did pretty well, got some backing. The budget was $4.5 million. It went on to gross $45 million, so it made 10 times its budget, which is exceptionally successful. And it's also a very, very well executed piece of horror fiction. It's a movie in a bottle in a lot of ways. For those of you who don't know the story, it's about a young girl who turns up to a B&B, or a what do they call it? Airbnb. Or yeah. And ding dong, she can't get in, but there's someone already there, and it's fucking Bill Skarsgård, who's scary as it is, and they kind of start to chat and have a bit of a thing, and you're thinking that, at some point Bill is going to end up being a cannibal or some shit. Where does Barbarian, the word, come from? We don't know. Later on you find out that the place is on Barbera Street, and you think that Bill Skarsgård is going to be the threat, and it really is. The first few minutes of this really play as in, this is a woman alone in a house with a guy she doesn't know. And it's the male threat thing. Did you feel that immediately?
Yes. Also, the trailer does that exact thing.
Plays that fiddle really fucking well for a good long while. Even after they discover the sort of underground cavernous nature of this B&B, where you go down and it's actually these tunnels that have been erected by this fucking crazy incest dude. But we'll get to him in a minute. But yeah, even after that, you still think maybe when he goes missing, he's missing because he's trying to lure her into this trap. What happens is it ends up being it's a mutant incest baby, basically. So it cuts back and forth a little bit, but the final sort of cutback shows you this prequel, the story in itself, and it's about this guy who had this house and just sort of kept his family in there, and made him fucking crazy, and had babies with his daughters, and this is one of them, and this baby has grown up underground. She's a huge, big 7-foot kind of old woman now, and is constantly watching this tape of how to breastfeed, and that's kind of led her to want a baby. And what you find out through the course of the movie, after Bill Skarsgård gets killed, and you get Justin Long come into the picture, which we'll come back to. If you fight her, that's the problem. But if you don't fight her, if you suck the titty milks, you get to survive. And it was fucked up. It was fucked up.
Gross.
And it's not even like breastfeeding's not gross, but this is.
Yes.
This is a very different thing.
Yeah, no, it's a disturbing one for sure. The most sinister thing about this whole film is that there is nothing supernatural about it. It is very, very human, or like a man-made terror, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. Oh God.
And that scene with where it jumps back to show that creepy dad and all that happened, and this 1960s 1950s style like a living underground thing. That's the scariest bit. When you understand what the threat is, because at first you think it's just like, again, it's Bill Skarsgård, and then what is it down there? It's going to be something else, and then it ends up being this mutant woman who just runs towards the camera into the light and crushes his head against the wall, and then it cuts to Justin Long driving the sports car down a street in California. Like, what the fuck's going on? And it ends up being that he owns the property, and he has to then go there and try and find out if he can sell it, because he gets cancelled because he forced himself on someone who was working on the TV show that he's the lead on. It's quite popular. So it had that kind of cancel culture thing going on as well. And there's that horrific scene in the bar where he's talking to his friend and he's like, what happened? And he's like, shouting over the music, and he's like, well, she wasn't into it. She required some, I had to talk her into it, or she required some talking into it.
She required some convincing.
If that's the case. What, sorry?
Yeah, the line is she required some convincing.
Yeah, exactly. If that's the case, it's not cool. It's not okay. It's either a yes or a no, and that's it. And that's a really interesting thing to bring up, to have these characters. Again, it's all about character, and they're all very, very well drawn characters, and you give a shit. When Justin Long is measuring the underground tunnels of this place, and he thinks he's going to get more money for more square footage, you're like, I hope he gets fucking crushed to death or whatever the hell happens, but you're still invested. Like,
when people initially watch it, I think my favorite reaction is Bill Skarsgård's head getting crushed while you can barely see what it is, and it's just, I was watching it. I forced my friends to watch it because I am who I am. and
I've given up trying to be as someone else. Yeah.
And as soon as because She kills him and then screams, and then you cut to Justin Long in a sports car.
Yeah.
So while that's happening, you're also reeling with the fact that you just watched an insane naked lady monster killing this poor guy. The poor guy that you've been suspicious of from the beginning. And
yeah.
my favorite switch is just completely apologizing for ever doubting Bill. For ever doubting Keith.
Yeah, it's and his performance is so strange and measured in places, and when she wakes him up and freaks him out, and he's kind of he's a bit, coarse with her, and he kind of can't feel it, and he's kind of longingly stares at her for, like, maybe it would have gone weird. You don't know. Like, we didn't see that part because homie got fucking turned into moose. Like, his head got made into moose. A big moose. Obviously not the moose that you find with the horns and everything. I'm talking about the dessert. You don't know what would have happened in that. Like, why did he go down there? Like, there's all these questions, and that's really the thing. It's so well executed. It really takes its time. Despite the fact that it's it's like what $1.40 or whatever. Like, it's not a long movie. Yeah. And yet it sets up these beautiful scenarios and this act structure, and it's got these kind of threaded stories, and you kind of come back to, Justin Long, and then you end up back where you were, and it kind of doubles back on itself, and there's part of a story going on while the rest of this is going on. Like, it's so well, the script is so tight, and it's shot really, really well. Like, it allows things to live in darkness. It doesn't require the trick of doing stuff in camera, but doing stuff to kind of get jump scares or whatever. It's just letting, like, the dolly shots towards her out of the opening of the tunnel, and it's just, you see her standing in that walkway.
Yeah.
Incredibly haunting. And all that is a dolly move. Like, that's a measured dolly move. It's not some sort of privileged POV or whatever.
Yeah. Also, I have to say, for me especially, like, this is just my personal opinion, but the best part of this movie, like the most thrilling and engaging part, is when she's discovering this entire, and it's just like, it's one decision after the other, and you're like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Like at some point you have to, at some point you're like, well, she is fucked and now I'm too. It's like, we can't go out of here.
Yeah, we're in it together, and it keeps your, like, the whole movie's, the start of the movie is her POV, and you kind of, you're in it with her, you kind of sink in it with her, and then when that does happen, when the stunningly brutal and surprise violence does take place, and then you do get that hard cut to white in the hills of California or wherever the fuck it is a real jarring moment, and I felt myself kind of unclench. And it takes a lot to get me, like, even with horror movies, like, I can see all the seams usually, so it was really just, it's expertly put together. I think as an auteur director, it's as strong a first picture as Nope. Like, I would say that Nope is an incredible movie and absolutely deserving of its accolades. I think this movie is just as good.
Oh, 100%. It's a completely different genre of horror, but it is horror, and yeah, like, I would go on part, because also there's something about like a good original horror idea doing well, with like from the first scene, that this was the vision and this is how it was executed. And there weren't like 60 producers trying to meddle with it and making a franchise.
That's the thing is that it wasn't this big production. It wasn't this huge thing. It was just a little indie that did really well because it was well executed and great word of mouth, all that stuff. It didn't require, it wasn't waving its hand at you and going, look at me, I'm this movie. And it does what great horror does. It's social commentary without putting a flag on it.
Oh yeah.
Without hanging a hat on it. They're just like, yeah, we're about cancel culture and we're about toxic masculinity and we're about the fact that women are never safe. I was thinking about it today, actually, because I went and saw Lee, the new Kate Winslet picture, where she plays Lee Miller, the war correspondent photographer. And there's a lot of stuff in that about, sort of sexual assault at the time and things that happened to her and whatever. And I was just thinking, if I walk down the street and someone grabs me or someone pushes me or starts to fight me or whatever, they either have something against me personally or they want my wallet and my money and my phone, all that kind of stuff. If you're 99.9% of the time, that's what they want. And then a lot of sexual predators are going to go after me. If a woman's walking down the street and someone grabs her, the immediate thought would be that this is a sexual assault. Like, it would have to be. And that's kind of what this is talking about. Like, she finds herself in this place with this guy who she knows nothing about. It seems to be a strange coincidence that they double booked this thing, whatever. And then when it dawns on her, this is actually really weird. And I shouldn't be so laissez-faire with this guy. I shouldn't be so ready to just, kind of accept the fact that he's a decent dude because I don't know cock about him. The thought is he could rape me. Yeah. And I don't like using the R word, but that's absolutely what the case is. And this movie is talking about that in a way that, like, the threat of a mutant big milk titty woman under there. I'm not making light of it, but I'm just saying that is like the last thing that she's thinking of is going to be a threat in that house. Like, we do not understand that. You cannot understand that unless you like, that is the fear that you feel when people when you are threatened, that is the thing that you have to consider might happen. Incredibly profound storytelling and again, the social commentary is it's not shoving it down your throat. It's just going, these are the facts, and by the way, there's also a fucking horror element to it.
Yeah,
really, really love it.
That woman opens her door at night, and it's so fucked up because I watched it like 3 times in this year, and so like that breastfeeding video is the only thing she knows.
Yeah,
it is. And like the reason why she kills Bill is because to her it's their babies, right? And like all she knows is how to breastfeed, and all she knows is that when you breastfeed a baby, they stop crying, right? And he screams because who the fuck wouldn't? Looking at that, yeah, and like she's an infant herself, and it's the loss of not having a baby that's given her this kind of manic rage at all times. And it's so weird because like when you watch it again, she opens initially when she wakes up and goes out and like he's having a nightmare, she wakes up because the door gets opened, and like the woman opens the door and she sees you don't see her seeing the seeing her lead, but it is implied that she because when she goes out of the room, you see the basement door close, so she did come outside. It's just like the mentality of her mother coming in and checking on her kids and seeing if they're asleep and not disturbing them. It's fucked up. And the second thing that is even more fucked up is like when you watch the movie and you watch Justin Long stand like outside that door and you see her back away. That is the most insane shit, because if I'm in that situation, I'm thinking, if there's something in here that she's scared of, I am so fucked.
Yeah. And it ends up being her creepy, infirmed father.
Yeah.
In the end, like, yeah, it's doing a lot of things, and there is sympathy to be had for this, vicious mutant creature. Like even the people in the town know you don't come out after dark. Like she'll come out after you, and That's why we're not around here, you know, all the sort of homeless people. And that's another thing as well, the detritus and the kind of broken down nature of that area, and it's kind of about urban decay as well, and what happens when these boom towns of the 1950s and 1960s just turn to shit because, you know, there's no money left there, all the industry goes overseas or whatever, and you just have people who can't afford homes anymore and they get abandoned. So it's you know, talking about that as well.
And then somebody makes a dungeon under their house.
Yep, and has weird mutant people in it ready to fucking breastfeed you whenever you like.
I caught it this time though. Like, Justin Long's character is so fucking dumb. He is so fucking dumb because the motherfucker not only he shoots at her twice, and the second time on purpose. But Jesus Christ, man! Like, he tries to help the fucking guy after seeing the. No, this is not after seeing the tape. But he tries to help the guy. And he says he's gonna get the police like swarming here, and then he gives the reason why that guy is still alive down there is because he cannot get up to shoot himself. That's his punishment, and he gives him the way out. And the entire thing, I found it so funny because he, like, they're rescued by this man who's living on the outskirt of that, or like a few houses down the street, and you know, he's talking about, you know, you don't come out at night, and like, what happens if you make a copy of coffee, and like, that's why incest is bad, because at one point you're just amplifying all the worst parts about this one DNA strand that you have. That's why all the fucking Targaryens are fucked up.
Yeah, I know, and they're all fucking dragons as well. So don't do that. Or
yes, there were fucking dragons
in your direct bloodline is probably for the best. Everybody, it's not a sexual preference. It's just a felony.
Yes.
Okay. Speaking of felonies, against cinema. No, it's not that bad actually. By contrast to Barbarian, a auteured, if you want to use that word, written and directed by one person, small budget, larger profit in the long term, smaller story, more contained, more socially aware, and a first time picture. World War Z, the zombie picture starring the Brad Pitts and a bunch of other people as well, like James Badge Dale, Marielena Enos, Matthew Fox is in there for a second. He had a huge chunk of his story completely removed, and I'll talk about that. But this picture, which came out in the year of our Lord 2013, was written by a bunch of people. Matthew Michael Carnahan, Drew Goddard, Damon Lindelof gets a screenwriting credit as well, because he came in and rewrote the ending for them. J. Michael Straczynski, the comic book writer who's done a lot of work with Spider-Man and also created Babylon 5, wrote the original script, and his ending that he wrote, which was the big Battle of Moscow, they didn't like, so they brought Damien in to do the kind of smaller, you know, CDC ending that they ended up having. It's also based on a novel written by Max Brooks, who is Mel Brooks' son, and it's actually a sort of like a mock journal about, in the same way that Dracula is like journal entries and stuff. It's basically about interviews with people who have been through a zombie apocalypse, and they kind of adapted it into this thing. Shadow of its former self, almost in name only. World War Z, the book, was optioned and hunted for furiously by both Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt's production companies. Plan B, which is Brad Pitt's company, did win out on a huge payday. You know, millions and millions of dollars for the rights to this thing. The budget was estimated at $190 million US. And its box office gross worldwide was just over 500. So only just doubled its budget. Yeah. Whereas, again, so only just about doubled its budget, whereas Barbarian, 10 times its budget was made. Like, if this was this, it would have made a fucking $1 trillion or something. I thought it was interesting to talk about these two things. One, because the
it's not only the studio meddling that's like World War Z is fine. It's a fine picture. There's some really good sequences in it. I like the science around it and stuff, but it does suffer from blockbuster-itis.
Yep.
It feels like it is trying to be big. It's a globe-trotting picture. There's huge amounts of special effects and huge set pieces and things like that. And yet the story, the best parts of the movie are the parts where it is contained, where they're in that apartment complex at the beginning with those people who help them and they've got to get to the roof and on the boat. And then when he's, at the air base and they're trying to fucking figure that shit out and there's the army guys are still there and they're talking about the guy who had the bung leg who didn't get attacked because the zombies don't go after the sick and all that stuff. When it gets outrageous, it's like the Jerusalem sequence where the zombies are climbing over the mountain. It's supposed to be this really mind-blowing thing, but we've seen all this,
It was a good movie. It was an okay movie. Brad Pitt tries hard a lot, but I couldn't buy it.
I don't think he was there for this one. Previous to this, the same night, I watched Babylon.
Come on, he is all over that movie, dude.
He is fucking strutting. He is strutting in that movie. And I think back to some of his work that he's done. I rewatched Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Excellent performance. Fight Club, 7, 12 Monkeys, he's incredible in. Really trying to play against type. The Pretty Boy thing kind of started Thelma and Louise and then Cool World, and then he kind of put it away and he's like, no, I'm going to do character stuff. And then he was in a few interesting sort of indie things, and then it was like, Ocean's 11 was kind of a Pretty Boy role and that kind of stuff. But he's always made really interesting choices. I think he's one of the best parts of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I like the more often I see it.
He is the part.
Yeah. He's great in it.
You go in to root for Rick Flag. If that's his name.
Rick Flag?
That's not his name, is it? Right?
Rick Flag is the dude from Suicide Squad. Rick Dalton. No, hang on, wait a second. We've mixed that up. Wait on. Where's Brad? There he is. Oh, he was really good in Wolves with Brad Pitt. What's the homie's name?
The other Batman.
The Clooney.
Yes, George Clooney.
The Cloon. De Clooneyton. He's great in Ad Astra. I loved Ad Astra. Cliff Booth is who he plays in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Rick Dalton is the Leo role. Yeah, totally deserving of an Academy Award. Motherfucker's in his 60s, which is just outrageous.
Hear me out.
Anyway.
Next Mission Impossible movie. Brad Pitt, twin of Ethan Hunt.
Hey man, they've got the money for it. That film is currently tracking as being the most expensive film ever made. So, which is crazy. The reason that I felt like, as I was saying before, that these are interesting like artifacts, and I understand that one was made 9 years after the other and all that kind of stuff. This film was tossed around really badly. The director, Mark Foster's got quite a good pedigree. He directed Finding Neverland, a Man Called Otto fairly recently. He's done a lot of TV. Christopher Robin was the film that he did that was kind of huge. And he did a Bond film too, Quantum of Solace, which is the one that people don't like, but whatever.
He's my second favorite Bond film.
What's your first?
Oh, Skyfall. No question.
Scaffold.
Yes.
Scaffold.
That intro sequence with the song is amazing.
Sorry, what? What are you saying? I'm fucking howling like a wolf. Or a barbarian.
Yeah. That intro sequence with the song is amazing, but also it's the first film that actually made me care about Bond. Who plays Stilgar in Dune?
Javier Bardem.
Yes. Javier Bardem is the most menacing he's ever been in that movie.
He's excellent in that film, yeah.
And
he's pretty good in Collateral. He's really menacing in Collateral, by the way.
He's in Collateral?
Yeah, he plays the mob guy who Tom Cruise's hitman's working for, and then Jamie Foxx has to go to the nightclub, and he tells that story about Black Peter.
That's right. I had to watch Collateral for an assignment, and I like watching movies, but if I have to watch it for an assignment, I hate it. So I just deleted that. God, you're such a student. Just watch the fucking movie and shut up. Read the book. Read fucking Little Women, or whatever the hell it is. Is Little Women a book? It is, isn't it? Yes, it's a book.
We're getting so off the track of World War Z here, we can't even begin. Yeah, so you were talking about Javier Bardem.
in Skyfall and how menacing he is.
Yeah. Where did we start though? Oh yeah, the director for Quantum Solace is the guy who made the film. Yeah.
He made the film, yeah. Quantum of Solace also has a great song that opens it. It's Jack White and Alicia Keys. Excellent song. Jack White rules. Monsters Ball was the other one as well, 2001, which won Academy Award for Halle Berry. And Heath Ledger was in that as well. So he's got, quite a good pedigree, but maybe not an action director, I don't know. This movie, it got wrangled away from him, I think, by, corporate interest and stuff. Bringing in Damon Lindelof is pretty heavy dope. Like, he's, famously from Lost. But he wrote the Watchmen series for HBO that was excellent a couple of years ago, like really, really good. And he's a script doctor. He comes in and sort of fixes things up. And they did have this huge set piece that was the Battle of Moscow. And that was kind of like where it was all leading. There's even scenes where you can see it kind of leaning that way and then they don't end up using it. And then you've also got like on this ship, the kids are there and the mum's there, Marilena Enos, and she's like, the kids are like, oh, I don't like this food here. And the soldiers are like, well, there's too many people on the boat, so there's diesel in the water and all this kind of shit. And then there was supposed to be this kind of transactional nature to her staying there where he was, off and they presumed dead. And they're like, if you're on this ship, you need to be of use. So Matthew Fox's character, Matthew Fox is a Lost alum. He was also on Party of Five. He was fucking her for like food for her kids and toilet paper and stuff. Like, there was some parts to this movie that would have been like really, really affecting. And the sort of sexual bribery and all that. Maybe it was a little bit too much, but also they hamstrung the movie with a PG rating in the States. You can't do a monster movie like this with the zombies, with there's no people eating brains and sucking heads off and all. Hang on, that's something else. Take it back. Chowing down on folks and all that. It reeked of, and because it's so inconsistent as well, like from scene to scene to scene, they feel like set pieces. It's the old Matt Stone and Trey Parker thing of like, if your story goes and then, that it's not working. It should go because this happens, and because this happens, and it should have a confluence. This doesn't. It feels like set piece to set piece strung together by him trying to find this cure. And then when they do finally get to the denouement, like the final set piece, which is in the CDC, it's this strange, like very small, very intimate kind of ending, whereas the rest of the film has been huge. Like, it ends in a really down note, and I can't as a baseline, like your movie shouldn't peak in the middle and then come all the way down at the end. It should peak at the end and come all the way down, for your outro or whatever. Yeah,
but like it didn't even peak for me. Like, the Jerusalem sequence could have been so much more interesting, and just like spending 5 more minutes in that set piece, just showing how they've protected themselves from all this, and how the lack of information was what got the United States in this horrible position in the first place. Yeah, and then like the fucking Doctor Who shows up at the end of it.
He does, and he's a doctor, funnily enough.
Oh my god, that's right. True. He is also the Doctor.
He's a Doctor Who. It's absolutely a Doctor Who, and you're completely distracted by that for starters. But also, the world politics that they're trying to get into here of like, okay, Korea pulled out everybody's teeth overnight.
Yeah, it's half-assed, because if you do that, then you also you gotta show some of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in the extended edition, which I have on Blu-ray, I got it from a second-hand store for like 50 cents. Bought that shit, and there's like some extended stuff where there's a bit more violence and whatever. It's like an unrated cut, and you actually see that guy, David Gross, or whatever his name, David Gross, pulling his own teeth out, and you kind of see that, but you don't see the Korea part. And I'm just like, well, for starters, you just made an entire continent the best ball suckers like there could possibly be. You know what I mean? It's going to be a lot of ball sucking. Don't cringe at me. You know it's the truth.
Yes.
Everybody's going down there to get sucked off. But yeah, you're right. You need to see that and also understand like how you do that and why you do that and why is it successful? Like, what is it? Is it just teeth? Because if that's the case, everybody, it's like that Canadian comedian says, put on a leather jacket. You know, I have human teeth, and sometimes I try and bite into a panini that's too toasted and it hurts. You know, it's like to bite into flesh must be difficult. So there's that, but then there's also, like Jerusalem, and they start letting everybody in, you know, and that, like, what does that mean? And then they have the 10th man rule, where if 9 of them agree, one has to not agree and then investigate. Like, that's some really interesting stuff, but they never go anywhere with it, really. It all becomes this kind of chase to get the kind of science out. And I'm sorry, and I know this has been said before online, the We Hate Movies guys famously went on a rant about it on their episode for World War Z. The Pepsi thing at the end is absolutely obscene. Like, I don't even...
Was it Pepsi or fucking Red Bull?
No, it's Pepsi. It's definitely Pepsi. Like, for starters, I think someone throws a Mountain Dew at a zombie and it doesn't work, but then a Pepsi, and it's one thing to use it to make the noise and just make the cans, like, completely obscured and you don't know what they are. Click. Brrrah. To have him crack a Pepsi and be like, oh, I love a Pepsi just before I fight zombies. It's fucking bizarre. Like, I haven't seen... There's some wild product placement in a lot of movies. And sometimes they really stand out. But this one is... Like, who do they think they were kidding? You know what I mean? It would be... It would be less... It was like the Truman Show, where she keeps pitching in products, you know. She goes, look at this, and it's this thing, and we've, you know, it's this shopping powder, and I've got it, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, that's amazing, because nobody talks like that, you know. Nobody goes, I'm about to risk my life and walk down this hall while I'm infected with some sort of disease, and hopefully they're going to fucking ignore me. Have a Coke, you know what I mean? I'd fucking have a wank. I would catch a beat if I'm about to go out. You know what I mean? Like, it's the plane is headed towards the mountain. Just fucking grab a quick one. Anyway.
Would you really jerk off while your plane is heading towards... I'm sorry.
I nearly spat my tea everywhere then, because it was the perfect amount of time. You waited really, like, a little bit too long to ask. Would you really fucking beat off it? No, I'd be calling my fucking wife and being like, I love you. Look after the cats for me. Yes, my dick's out. I'm trying to get this done too, babe. Just, you know, flash me a nipple or something. Oh, God.
What the fuck, man?
We were talking about World War Z and Barbarian. I was watching today. I watched the Till the End of the Line guys' 100th episode came out on YouTube, and I was watching that. It was a great episode, guys. Appreciate it. Got me through my workout.
Congratulations on 100 episodes.
Yes, yeah, it's a hell of a feat. But it was great to be on there. But I realised, like, how fucking, compared to the rest of their guests, like, how raw I am. And I'm sorry. I think sex stuff's funny. Anyway, it is. It's quite hilarious.
Sex stuff is always funny.
It is. It's such a fucking weird thing that we do as well. It's such a funny thing. Like, you've ever been having sex and you just start laughing because it's so absurd. Like, you just, you know, you get in all these positions and someone slips a little bit and you make it what, and you get, or you flop out or you flop in, you know, whatever's happening, and you just, you know, or a boob goes jiggy jiggy in your face and you're just like, oh, this is such a silly time. Let's have a good. We're having fun. We're having fun here. Let's get some chocolate pudding in the mix. Why not? Enjoy ourselves. Anyway, World War Z, the corporate nature of it and the Hollywood nature of it and the big business nature of it, I think is a problem. And I think it's always going to be a problem when they take these kind of what could be really delicate and introspective genre pictures and try and make money off them. And I know that I'm not blind to the fact that making movies is a business. That's why they call it show business, and that you have to make money. But I do feel like the Barbarian style of giving young, hungry filmmakers with big ideas, little budgets, but enough so they can do what they want to do and then execute, is going to make better cinema, and it's going to get you your results. It's going to get you 10 times your budget, which is what you want. And then those people can go on and make bigger and more interesting things. I guarantee you, if, you know, fucking Barbarian had to come out in 2012 and then they gave the director fucking World War Z, it would have been a much better picture. That's all I'm saying. Talking about where your resources go and
pick a target and go at it. Like, don't make your zombie movie PG because you're trying to hit two markets and they're not there. You're going to miss them both.
Yeah, I agree. Also, the franchise part of it is hard because it makes sense why people want to do that, but also like franchising horror movies is a horrible idea because the fucking Paranormal Activity shit is right in front of us. Nobody gave a shit about the second one, and they have like 7 sequels.
You're absolutely right. It's always diminished, and you know the Halloween franchise is a perfect example as well.
Yes,
the Freddy franchise, and
like even the Conjuring franchise. The only reason why people go watch those movies is because fucking Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are amazing as those people. Like, there's a reason why James Wan had to take a break from the Conjuring franchise and then make *Malignant*, which was an amazing original idea with absolutely no plan for a sequel or franchise. And it was weird and it was horrifying and it was just so interesting.
Is that the other name for Aquaman?
No.
*Malignant*.
Oh, fuck. I forgot he directed.
Because he made Aquaman as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's been busy doing Aqua pictures.
He did.
Imagine being on Aquaman 2 and being like, what the fuck are we doing this for? No one cares anymore. Fucking James Gunn's come along and eaten all our lunch. Anyway, regardless. But yeah, no, you're right. Franchising of pictures, like, unless the original... Like, if the cat who directed Barbarian was like, I've got a great idea to how to sequelize this, and I want to do it because it's a story I want to tell, and this time it's about, I'm going to go more into the urban decay, or I'm going to talk about states' rights, or I'm going to talk about whatever the fuck it is, you know, that's interesting to me, as opposed to, oh, sorry, what's that, John Carpenter? You don't want to do the third, you know, Halloween movie, or don't want to come back to the fourth Halloween. We're going to do it anyway, and we're going to fuck it up. Because money.
Like, that's what happened in the Conjuring franchise as well. Like, the third Conjuring movie isn't directed by James Wan, and it only works.
Is it the Red Door?
No, that's Insidious.
I'm thinking of Insidious.
Yes. Wow.
A syllabus.
Succubus?
What is it? Insidious. Sucking dick. Insidious. It says Insidious 2, Insidious the Red Door. Well, how many of them are there?
I think there are 5.
That's too many.
Like the one.
That's way too many. If I didn't know that there was more than 3, it's too many.
The one that recently came out, I think, is called The Red Door, and that has Patrick Wilson returning as the character he played in the first one.
Right. Okay.
But yeah.
And that has nothing to do with the Conjuring universe at all.
Absolutely not.
I was going to watch the Conjuring universe pictures, and then we were talking about them with Juan and Kike, and they said there was a bunch of fucking little girl ghosts in it and shit, and I thought, no, thank you.
Wait, what?
Isn't there a little girl ghost in it? Or you were talking about Annabelle?
Oh yeah, it's that scene. Yeah, you don't have to watch the Annabelle movies.
And the Nun is also a spin-off of this.
Yeah, the Nun was introduced. The Nun was introduced in the third act of Conjuring 2, and then came out the Nun. I think the Nun pictures are actually really well made. I think they have to have they need to have more of the religious horror. Like they put too much. It's called the Nun, so of course I had this critique, like, and you said it too. It's called the Nun. They're gonna have religious shit in it, but like I want more religious horror. You know, like you know how the actual angels are like spoken of. They're not like angelic creatures with wings and halos around them. It's like what we saw in fucking Midnight Mass. It's that.
Yeah. They're beasts, and they're also incredibly vengeful and violent.
Yeah.
No, I dig that. Well, that's kind of our episode, everybody. We hope you enjoyed the double up, our late Halloween, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed also the rants that went on at the beginning of this. Sorry if that's not what you're into, but you know, this is our show, and we need to talk about what we need to talk about sometimes. To all of you out there, be well, look after yourselves, look after each other, and choose love. Always choose love. Do we have any questions?
We do have questions, and I think we only have one, but until I look it up, Let's go three favorite horror films.
Yeah, Halloween 78 is probably my favourite. I just think it's a classic. Here's an obscure one for you, and I haven't watched it in a really long time. I bought it on Blu-ray a couple of years ago and tried to corral my sister into watching it with me because we used to watch it when we were kids. And she's like, fucking absolutely not. I'm not going to watch that now. I'm a grown woman. She gets scared of books, that she's reading. It's a film called The People Under the Stairs. And I think it was directed by Wes Craven. So The People Under the Stairs from 1991, there's a character in it. Yes, it was written and directed by Wes Craven. People Under the Stairs is a story of a young boy, Fool, from the ghetto that takes place on his 13th birthday. In an attempted burglary, along with two others, of the home of his family's evil landlords, he becomes trapped inside a large suburban house and discovers a secret of children living in the walls and a brother and sister rearing these children who live under the stairs. So it's this incest baby things again, but they're also cannibals. It's fucking chilling. It is absolutely fucked up. And, but, I haven't gone back to it in a long time, but it'll never leave me.
Should I watch it?
If you want to be disturbed, Barbarian style. Absolutely. I would also choose Barbarian because I did really fucking dig it. But that might be recency bias as well. So I'm going to go with what I said on One and Kiko show. I think The Thing, I know it's sci-fi as well, but there's definitely a horror element to it. The Thing with a John Carpenter picture. Mwah, chef's kiss. Just a beautiful, beautiful piece of work. What about you?
Like, I learned that I like folk horror a lot. And that's a very niche genre of horror. Like even incest horror has probably more movies than folk horror.
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah, but I would go number 3. I would always go The Conjuring because it was the start of something weirdly obsessive with the horror genre. Yeah, I get this fucking thing every year, right? I watch like fucking Christmas feel-good movies in October, and I watch bad shit horror movies in December, dude. Like, everybody's so jolly, and I'm just watching fucking I'm just watching Skinamarink again.
I like that you're about yourself and you know what you're into, and fuck everything else. It's good.
So I'd go number 3 with The Conjuring. Number 2, I would go, this is something very recent that I actually really loved, The Ritual.
Yeah, we were talking about it last episode, and I forgot to watch it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's there's something in it that is so incredibly amazing to look at, yet so disturbing. It's amazing.
Is it 2 huge milk titties running down a hallway after Justin Long? Juggly, jiggly, juggly, juggler. That's the titty noise.
I don't think anything on this podcast will ever be better than the last 30 seconds.
When do you think the Film Addicts podcast peaked? Oh, probably when Riggs made the sound that tits make. You know that very familiar sound, like a dog whistle or a foghorn? Yeah, 2 tits. Jiggly, jiggly, juggly, juggly. Boogly boom. Come on. All right. It's getting serious now. What's number 1 then? Tell me number 1.
Number 1 is The Witch. And I still have to watch The Northman, which I will in preparation for Nosferatu.
Yes, yeah, Robert Eggers. He's doing some really fantastic work in genre. He also directed The Lighthouse, is that right?
Yes. I don't like The Lighthouse.
Yeah, that's one of my faves. Yeah, I think that's fucking great, that movie. The young woman who was in Split and Furiosa, is she in The Witch?
Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, she's also in
she's in Dune 2 as well.
She's in Northman as well, yeah. What's her beef with Timothy Chalamet? Or Chalamet?
What do you mean?
They had some beef or something?
Like a beef sandwich?
Yes, they had a beef sandwich. Yep, let's just move quickly.
That reminds me of the what was it? The anal sandwich that we talked about?
Beg your pardon? What?
We talked about an anal sandwich in the chat.
We talked about an anal sandwich? Where was I?
I remember, like, late night, you said, now I'm hungry. And I said...
Oh, you mean in the chat? Yeah. Like, not on an episode?
No,
yeah, something about an anus sandwich. Yeah.
Butt cheek, tongue, butt cheek.
Butt cheek. butt cheek, tongue butt cheek is one of those like word things that you know, like Black Rock Yacht Club. You've got to say it quickly and sort of warm your mouth up. You know,
it's a tongue twister.
Yeah, unique New York. You know, lion face, rah, lemon face, lion face, rah, lemon face, like that. One of those things that actors do before they go on stage. That's what that sounds like. Butt cheek, tongue, butt cheek.
I'm sorry, the lion face and lemon face thing is where we peaked.
That's the one? Okay, good. Not the sound of boobs. Wonderful.
Yes,
well, what's our question? We'll do the question theme. Thanks, Johnny. Jiggly 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 jong. Boobies. Now it's a theme song thing. Oh dear. Well, we did all right considering how fucking depressed we were at the beginning of this episode. What's our one question?
So one question comes from Chaz, as always.
Yes.
What is the one location that you would like to see more of in a zombie film?
Right, okay. Fucking anywhere where there's snow? Like, I feel like I haven't seen a zombie movie where there's snow.
Well, there's an entire season of Game of Thrones that takes place in the snow with zombies, but... That
doesn't count. I don't count Game of Thrones zombies. I want some traditional zombies in the fucking Canadian Rockies or something. There's a pretty good movie that was based on a graphic novel called 30 Days of Night. It's got Danny Houston in it, which is a problem because I don't think he can act. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not. Everybody's got their own thing, but I just look at Danny Houston. I'm like, I'm very aware that you're acting right now, Danny Houston.
Like Rami Malek?
Yeah, him, Mark Wahlberg. Rami Malek won an Academy Award for acting. That's amazing. Yeah.
You know who he beat? He beat. That's weird how I said it like 4 times.
You know who he beat? Beat. Jiggly 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 jong boobs. Like that's how they enter a room. Who did he beat?
Bradley Cooper for A Star Is Born.
Yeah, I'm not on board with that movie in a bunch of different ways. We want to talk about it because you really like that film, but I have a problem with that movie.
What? What problem do you have with my favorite movie of all time?
It's grief porn, and
what?
And no, well, it's also incredibly disingenuous and kind of insulting to addicts. You don't get in recovery and then fucking kill yourself because your girlfriend's manager had a spat with you. Like that's not what recovery is about. We're all stronger than that. And I was like, that's fucking horse shit. I mean, I'm not saying that's 100% always the case. I know that people relapse and stuff like that, but when you get to the point that he gets to, it should be the end of Crazy Heart. He writes the best song ever and he loses the girl. And that's how it should go. It shouldn't be I fucking walk into a lake or whatever the hell happened. Or maybe that was the Chris Christopherson one. But anyway, himself. Yeah. It was just grief porn. He hung himself, yeah. In the Chris Christopherson Barbra Streisand version, I think he walks into the ocean. But yeah,
walks into the ocean is like the traditional one. Because it's a remake of a remake of a remake. So.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the movie. I think it was really well made, and Lady Gaga was incredible in it, like just a stellar performance. But it just got to that ending, and I was just like, nah, that's, you know, I didn't really take offense as like a recovering addict. I'm not that fucking precious, but I was just like, nah, that feels really false. It feels really, grief porny. Like they're trying to. It was, you know, Oscar bait, and I would rather it had ended in a way that was more accurate, like he relapsed and then had to go back into recovery or something, you know? Like, I just feel like that would be more, as opposed to just killing a motherfucker. Anyway. Where do you want to see some zombies?
That's right. We're talking zombies.
On stage with Bradley Cooper.
That would be insane. Do you know what? That reminds me. My take for Joker is that Joaquin Phoenix is highly, highly miscast. Bradley Cooper would have made an amazing Joker.
He would have made a pretty good Batman too. Or Superman. Or my dad. With Paul Mescal as Robin, were you about to say?
Paul Mescal.
He's too tall. He's about to be in fucking Gladiator, and I can't wait.
I saw that trailer when I went for Venom 3, and that trailer was the best part of the movie.
It's sick, and I'm like, this is the most overwrought nonsense I've ever seen. Holy shit. And me and Alex, my camera assistant, went to see Lee the other day because she's a photographer, and I was like, well, you got to come and see this with me. And we were chatting afterwards, and the trailer for Gladiator 2 came on, and afterwards we were chatting. I'm like, do you want to come and see that? And she's like, I haven't seen the first one. I was like, well, come and see the first one, and then we're going to see that. I'm like, it looks absolutely outrageous. Like, they filmed the Colosseum with water. And she's like, yeah, they did. I'm like, what? In real lifetimes? She's like, yeah. I was like, did they fucking fill it with shark? Where the fuck did they get sharks from? She goes, it's near the coast, like, where they are. I'm like, yeah, but how do you catch sharks and keep them? And then how do you fill the Colosseum with water? Have you ever tried to fill a kiddie pool with a hose? It fucking takes forever. It fucking takes so long. It's a day and a half minimum. And then you've got this fucking thing they film the whole Colosseum. How do they make that waterproof? Where does the sand go? There's sand there already. Like, when all the water dissipates, how long do they have to wait before they can have another battle where it's dry? And how do they get ships in there? Like, I can't think about it engineering-wise. It's fucking doing my head in. Sorry, that went for longer than I thought it was going to.
Loved it.
I'm more upset about that than fucking the election. It's more bewilderment than anything. Like, wow, I can't believe we did that. And now all we do is sit on TikTok. So where do you want to see your zombies? Under the water with some sharks?
Well,
that's actually a fucking cool idea.
That'd be fun.
Zombie sharks.
There's an unnecessary franchise called 47 meters deep or 47 meters down, whatever the fuck. First one was okay-ish, but like, again, like, the other 3 sequels are bad. It's like the Meg, but not the Meg, but worse. But
I think the Meg knows what it's doing as well. It's kind of a bit tongue-in-cheek. I also like the porn parry, which is 47 inches in, which is pretty outrageous. That's a big dick.
That's murder, my friend.
It's all horse porn, I'll tell you that much. Do you want to tell me where... Like, I said snow. You want to... Tropical. We could do tropical zombies. That sounds good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh. There are a bunch of...
Just zombies with pineapple all over them? Was that the joke you were going to make?
It's a zombie film in Hawaii. And these zombies were people at some point wearing Hawaiian shirts. And they're just camouflaged in the forest.
Where are the zombies? We don't know. We can't see them.
That's the name of the movie.
Florals.
That's the name of the movie. Where's the zombies?
Yeah, we're dem zombies, and it's a bit of a parody piece. I like that.
And it's directed by
Taika. They're all standing there with cocktails going.
He's directed by Taika Waititi for some reason.
Absolutely. He could direct it. Yeah. He could absolutely direct it. Oh, silly. Oh, no, was that your actual answer?
Yeah.
Tropical zombies? Okay, there you go, Chaz. Let's go tropical. And, I mean, must we go tropical? But we shall. And I'm going to go the snow. So maybe I'll see some when I head to Canada at the end of the year. Anyway, everyone, I hope you enjoyed that completely disjointed and absolutely batshit crazy episode that we just gave you. Then again, I guess that's what you come to expect. Thank you so much for being our fans. We do appreciate you every time you come back. And we hope you get a giggle out of it in these strange times. Addie, you're just gorgeous, mate. Oh. I can't even begin with you.
I'm still thinking of zombies with pineapple heads.
Well, that's a good thought to go out on. Everybody, just imagine a zombie walking around with a fucking pineapple on its head, and everything will be okay in the end. And remember...
Stay amazing. Stay safe.
Jiggly, 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 billy, bully, jiggly. I don't know what you said. I know what I said. What did you say?
I was doing the boobies.
Titty balls.